Hey guys, Gus69 from at Open Mind Brazil. I was meaning to do this video for quite some time, but it's approaching the deadline, so I decided to record this video today. This is a contest entry for Mark from Wandering Souls Webzine channel. Pretty cool VC member. He's from the Netherlands, I think, and he's celebrating 1,000 subscribers, so very well done, Mark. Despite being a contest, I would do this anyway because I think we have some things in common. Our history with music. I know that Mark is doing the webzine for almost 20 years, and maybe I started a little bit earlier than him, but I also did a lot of fanzine and webzine blogs before YouTube, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to show a little bit of this background that I think I have in common with Mark. So for this contest, we have to answer 3 questions. The first one is what's your name? Tell me where are you from, and your favorite music genre. So everybody knows I'm Gus69, Gustavo Scafuro, my surname. I'm from São Paulo, Brazil, but I lived for many years in Portugal, around 13 years in Portugal, and also I lived in United States about for almost 5 years. But I've been back to Brazil since 2010, so 13 years already. Anyway, my favorite music genre is, of course, heavy metal. But as you can already know, I like many other genres, including jazz, some new age, blues, some electronic like trance music. I do like some, even pop music a little bit, reggae, what else? I think classical music I enjoy, and the thing that I most like in music in general is the different nuances that every genre has. But my main focus is rock and roll, hard rock, and heavy metal, especially when rock, this kind of rock, has some of those outside genres as influences. So classical in heavy metal I love, some electronic in heavy metal I love, industrial metal for instance, even the new metal scene. I like some hip hop and rap in rock, not as a genre because I don't know very much about that, but I think you get the point. I like, for instance, blues rock, especially hard rock bands that are inspired by the 70s, blues rock, psychedelic. Of course, I do like some jazz. I don't love jazz, but I love jazz fusion, jazz rock, heavy bands that has a jazz background. I love mixed things in rock. So, but the first genre that I started listening and liking and collecting was heavy metal. No doubts about it. So, second question. Ask me 1 to 3 questions. So I think he's doing like a Q&A type of video every now and then, and we have a chance to ask something that we don't know about Mark, about his background. And that's what I'm gonna show a little bit of my background, and then I will ask a few questions, a couple questions for him about the things that I'm about to show. So when I moved in '99, I was living in Portugal, and I brought my family to live in Brazil, but things that didn't work as we planned, and in 2000 we went back to Portugal. But in the meantime, while I was here in Brazil, in '99, I met an old friend from a local guy that we grew up liking the same kind of music, which was heavy metal, when I was a teenager. And I met him many years later, of course, in '99, and he was doing a fanzine, this one, Metal on Metal. And back in that time, I was working with printing, and I knew a little bit of graphic design, but I didn't have like a degree or nothing like that. But I was learning by myself, and I was working with Photoshop already, with Quark Express. Print guys will know that program. I don't know if it's used to this day, I don't know, but I was learning how to do these things for printing, and I decided to help him to upgrade his fanzine that he was doing by himself. I think he had a partner, and then when I met him, he was by himself doing this. So I decided to help him. This is like a photocopy kind of fanzine type of thing, and I helped him to he boot his fanzine with this issue, doing all the graphics and also writing, doing reviews for this issue while I was here in Brazil. But then I moved to Portugal, but we kept in touch, and I helped him with a couple more issues with a different size, bigger, again doing all the graphics, all the pages, and also some text like reviews, things like that. And this was the last one that I helped him. He also did writings, we like half and half, but this was a little bit better. Reviews, interviews. On this article I talked about the Portuguese metal scene, because this was released only here in Brazil, but I was living in Portugal. It was good to do this with him, because I got invited to write for other magazines, such as this one, U Forces. Again, another friend of mine who played in a band with me was doing this magazine, and I helped with some interviews like this one, Jeff Scott Soto. For this I didn't do any graphics, only text, only review. Also did another issue. Again, talking about the Portuguese bands. I was living in Portugal, but this is a Brazilian magazine. This is a bigger magazine here in Brazil, Road Creole. I also they publish some of my concert coverage, like this one, Moonspell in Portugal. I think they publish, I don't know what it is, but a Scorpions gig that I went and wrote about. This is I think it's the only rock metal magazine still today being published in to this day, but this is from early 2000s. Everything I'm showing it's from late 90s, early 2000s. Then there in Portugal, I was invited to work with this new magazine there, Massacre. First only doing concert reviews like this one, Machine Head. I did several interview Portuguese bands, and then I did the last one that I did for them was this one. I did everything, all the graphics, the entire, it's black and white, but I paid the entire magazine and did a lot of interviews, concert reviews, and all the layouts for this Portuguese magazine. I was starting doing some photos, but I didn't have the right equipment back then. But this was a really good phase of my life because I started writing about the albums that I was listening. I started receiving a lot of promos, which was very nice. Every week I received a couple new releases, and was very good. I didn't earn any money back then doing this. It was just by my passion about the things that I loved, so I was doing those things, and I started my own project in 2002 when I went back to Portugal. I decided to create, let me show which was the last one. This was the last metal on metal issue, and I had like a column. This one, the last page, alternative ways, because for instance I was reviewing Hollis Band, Incubus, A Perfect Circle, Linkin Park, and Tool. So bands that were not considered as heavy metal they were back then in early 2000s were considered as alternative metal, and many people didn't like the true metal fans or whatever. They didn't like this alternative wave, but I was enjoying. I thought that was a fresh thing happening in terms of heavy music, but I didn't want to mess with metal one on metal from my friend, because it was only metal. So I decided to create my own project as a webzine in Portugal, and the name was Metal Open Mind. That's how everything started about 20, I think 22 years ago. So I started doing HTML sites, and I create my own website or webzine, because it wasn't on paper, but the same things that we had like here, like news, reviews, interviews, concert reviews, everything but online on a site. It was 2001, I think, and then I get together with a designer, formed proper designer and a programmer, and we three of us created a website. metalopenmind.com was the URL back then, and was very professional, very good, very popular in Portugal. We had like almost 2 million views in 2 years. Back then it was huge in Portugal. There was a few websites like music, heavy music related, but we did very well. But I had to quit a couple years later, because it was taking a lot of my time, and I wasn't earning any money. I was receiving a lot of promos, I was going to a lot of shows, but you have to pay bills. I need to focus on my family, so I decided to put it back, everything that I was doing related to music, and focus only on my family. So I had to find a proper job and things like that. Anyway, it was a very good experience. And now my questions for Mark related to this that I was talking. I want to know if you by any chance made any paper fanzines before the internet era, or if Wandering Webzine was brought to life on as a digital version already, or if you had experience doing fanzines before that. The first question. If so, can you show the oldest issue you still keep, or the latest one that you ever published? As I showed, I want to see if you have that. And another question that occurred me right now, if you do so things like I did, like doing fanzines, even with the webzine that I know that you still have, like besides YouTube, how do you do to keep that without earning money? Because it's very hard to, if you wanna get some money doing this, you have to do like strong partnerships. You have to sell ads or things like that, and it's kind of hard in the underground to do that. So I'd like to know if you have had a chance to do things like that, and if you got some money out of it, because it's kind of people don't like to talk about this, because if you do this, like it's a lot of work. It consumes a lot of time, but if you are making money, people tend to think that you are doing just for the money. It's I don't know. It always happened with music. It's like nobody can, even with musicians or bands, that it's another story, but I was in some of bands also. If you are in a band, it's okay, but if you are in a band and you want to make money doing that, doing what you love, then you are a sellout. You are doing just for money. What I'm saying is that people kind of don't really think about what you have to do to achieve certain level of professional work. And if you are professional, you deserve to earn some money doing that. So it's kind of taboo to talk about this, but I would like to know about your experience doing Wandering Souls Webzine, in terms of getting some, even to pay, like to survive the minimum, and to stay alive or stay relevant in the scene. So I would like to know that. And last question. I know that you probably did many interviews over the years, as I had the opportunity to do, even though with my terrible English. But I would like to know which were your three most important, or the ones that you never forgot about, three interviews that you did, with whom, which musicians, from which bands. So I would like to know that. So I think I already asked too many questions, 3 or 4, but I'm sorry about that. You can answer which ones you feel like it. And to end this video, he wants us to recommend an album from 2022. So the project that I started 20 years ago, it's my main channel on YouTube, Metal Open Mind. It's in Portuguese, and nowadays I don't have a website or a webzine, but I do have a blog that every now and then I update it with reviews, live coverage and things like that. But it's a blog, and I don't have like the obligation to do every day, or I do when I feel like it, but I'm still doing that. And every year I do my top from that year. And I still receive a lot of promos, but all digital promos. Nobody sends physical media anymore. But anyway, I tried to, for 2021, I was so overwhelmed with the quantity of releases. I don't know, almost 2000, and I didn't do any top. I kind of needed a break. But last year I did top 100, and I made a half an hour video with samples of each of those 100 bands that released in last year, so all new release. So I will leave the link for that video in the description. But I wanna recommend 10 bands from those 100. Those 10 bands is just for Mark, because I think he might know some of them, but certainly he will enjoy almost all those 10 bands. So the first band is number 99, Alosser Wolf. It's a one-man black metal project from US, and the album title is A Man Made for Nowhere. So 99. Next, 97, An Abstract Illusion. I think you know this one, Mark. The album title is Woe. It's a progressive death metal band from Sweden. Next, 91, Black Rails. The album title is Journey. They play like a dark rock doom metal, and they are from Liechtenstein. Next, 73, Extinction in Progress. Album title is Shades of Pale. They are kind of alternative death metal band. They are from Finland. Next, 66, Griefbringer. I think you know this one, very good. The title of the album is The Horrible Wilting. They play like a doom sludge, and they are from Italy, very good. Next, number 62, Huracan. Album title is Via Aeterna, and they play like a deathcore, and they are from France. Next, 55, Corrosive. Album title is Toxic Apocalypse. They play thrash metal, and they are from Canada. Next, I think you know this band, number 20, Strychnus. Album title is A Mother's Curse, and they play death metal, and they are from Denmark. Next, number 10, Catarus 13. Album title is Chthonian Transmissions. They play like a dark ambient death doom kind of thing, and they are from Romania. And last but not least, number 1 on my top, Moonshade. Album title is At We Set the Skies Ablaze. They play melodic death metal, and they are from Portugal. A great surprise from Portugal. So 10 recommendations for you, Mark. Please go there when you have a chance, or when you have time to do that. Watch the video and be aware of the numbers that I chose for you, my recommendations. So thanks for watching. This was a kind of long video, but I really wanted to do this for Mark. I appreciate your support, and I see you next time.